people of the World Wide Web. So it's Cypher Sigma here. So it's another little collection video. So people who are not aware, you can find a playlist down on my channel. So this is the toy collection. So this is where each week or each few weeks I will go through basically a line or a toy line or what I have from that toy line, and do some a little bit of explaining about what the toy line is from, how I picked up some of the figures, and then you get to see a 360 if they stand on the little rotator, because it doesn't always do it, or the lazy Susan, whatever they call it in the UK. So today's episode is the toy line Ben 10. So yes, so this was a cartoon from 2005 until 2021. It was split into two combinations. So it was originally started by Man of Action, a great up and coming cartoon company. They did four main continuations of Ben 10. So you had Ben 10, the first, which I think was 3 years. Then you had Alien Force, which was the second series. You had Ultimate Alien, and then you had Omniverse, and that kind of tied everything in. Then they went into kind of a soft reboot of Ben 10, smaller episodes, slightly different animation style to kind of meet what was a lot of the cartoons at the time, and it kind of or very simple-ish. For me, it didn't necessarily work, and I didn't really watch much of them. And then that series had, I think in 2001, 4 small specials that basically tied everything together, and that's where Ben 10 has ended, and then unfortunately gone into the dust. So it had a good reign, 16 years for a toy line. I really liked it. Obviously, I was in my 20s when I came across this time, but getting back into animation and toys and stuff, it definitely appealed to me. Man of Action definitely stood out. Now, obviously, the series is based from Ben Tennyson, a young lad. He goes on a camping trip with his cousin Gwen and his granddad, and it's basically each series is set kind of over the summer. He finds a crashed alien and gets the Omnitrix, which is an alien kind of bracelet. For this, he can interact with alien DNA and become an alien for a different period of time. Obviously, as the first series and the kind of premise would be, Ben 10, he only gets access to 10 aliens first, and then it gets bigger and bigger and bigger, and these deviate. Now, they do I think it's about a 3 3/4 series of toy line, which is where I mainly feature. Some of them are not necessarily into scale, but most of them are. I do have 9 out of the original 10 figures, and then I have a load of other figures that I pick up. I basically pick these up cheap, and I love it because it kind of reminds me of Ben 10, makes me want to go back and watch it. Anyway, hopefully you watching this video, you're a Ben 10 fan as well, or quite intrigued in that, so I will swap the camera around, we'll put the little lazy Susan on, and I'll go through all the figures and kind of what I know they do. So first up, obviously this is Ben 10. So he had 10 aliens originally. So this is Wild Mutt. This is one of his first kind of 10 creatures that he has. Obviously this is, I think, a variant figure because it has the glowing fist there. He's kind of looks like he's taking a swipe. Essentially kind of a big orange dog. Obviously all the Ben 10 figures have the Omnitrix kind of symbol somewhere to kind of highlight that it's there. So that is the first one. Essentially, we move on to this guy. So this is Ghost Freak. This is one of the guys from the first series who ends up turning evil and escaping kind of the Omnitrix. He is kind of, as the name says, he's a kind of ghost. He can phase through stuff, and that's his power. And the little veins down him means he can open up his skin, and there's scary stuff inside. Very much kind of reminisce of Beetlejuice cartoon, if you know that is. Then we have Heat Blast. So very obvious what it is. This is basically kind of a Human Torch version of Ben 10. Basically all in flames. He can shoot fire, and I believe he can fly from this one. So here we have, this is Forearms, as the name would indicate. He has 4 arms. Obviously they're quite on the nose when it comes to naming these characters from Ben 10, and he's quite a popular character. Quite a nice sculpt, I think, for this, and quite a big bulky character. Then we have Upgrade, which is exactly what it said. It is kind of a chemical substance which can go over objects and kind of take them over from a kind of mechanical technological standpoint. I quite like this one, quite a kind of weird alien Borgy type looking. Then probably the smallest one, which is going to be really hard to see. So this is Grey Matter. This is based off the alien species that the creator of the Omnitrix has. Very tiny. Obviously it's grey matter because he's so small, and obviously the grey matter in your brain. I will kind of, that's what he looks like there. Then we have Accelerate, so this is the speedster of the team. XLR8 is obviously how the name is pronounced. Obviously he's really, really fast. Obviously that's why he has the little balls on his feet so he can run at super speeds. Then we have Diamond Head in the collection. So obviously this is one of the powerhouses of the team. Obviously he has little diamonds that can shoot out of his body. He does have 2 holes in the back. I don't know if diamonds are supposed to be, or the little kind of rocks are supposed to be in there or not. My one never came with it because it's just second hand. But he can shoot crystals, and kind of that's where his power sits. And then finally this guy, I cannot remember his name, so I will pop it up on the screen. So he's kind of a fish guy. As you've probably seen, the kind of fishes that have the little glow one that attracts it. So I cannot remember. His legs kind of go into his kind of cape or loincloth so he can have a tail. But yeah, apologies, I don't names. And that was the original 9 Ben 10 Aliens. 10th is Swamp Fire, which unfortunately I don't have. I do have some other little figures I won't fit into, but obviously the only human one I have in this scale is Kevin. So Kevin 11 is introduced, I believe, in the first kind of second series. He is the bad guy, or the kind of opposite to Ben. He kind of tries to make his own Omnitrix and it screws him all up, and he's Kevin 11. That's his own, which I don't have any figures of that. Then as he goes on outside of the 10 Aliens, then we have Spider Monkey. So as I see, it's a monkey but kind of with the appendages of a spider. Obviously can shoot webs and the usual stuff. Quite a fun little character. Then we have this jellyfish character called Amphibian. It is again another later creature, I believe, around Ultimate Alien. He gets this one. Obviously can swim and I think can send shockwaves or electricity. Then we have Topic, so kind of a troll with a horned helmet on. Never came across this one. I believe this was probably near the Omniverse series or later, or didn't show up as much, so my recollection is a bit vague. And then we have Jet Ray, so kind of looks a little bit like a stingray but can fly, I believe, in the air. I say apologies if I get any of these wrong, but obviously this is quite a bright, vibrant colour scheme for this one. Then we have Blitz Howler, so this is a wolf who can shoot like supersonic sounds. Obviously this version, again, I pick all these up for a few pound each, missing some of the effects and a bit of wear and tear on it, but I thought it was quite good for a figure. Kind of the werewolf moniker. Then we have Chrome Stone. So this is another kind of crystal alien that Ben gets a little bit later on, besides Diamond Head. Obviously different coloured crystals and a kind of more armoury look to the figure altogether. But I still think it's quite cool. So the almost translucent looking crystals and hands make a nice addition. Then we have Goop. So Goop is essentially a kind of flubber, a green liquid. It does have a little android that normally sits on its head to control it. Mine didn't come with that figure. It is completely and utterly translucent, as you can see, which is a very cool. I must admit that's the one thing for Ben 10. Some of the designs that they came up with were so good for the 2000s that this is why it kind of pulled me in. Then we have some more of the big guys. So Cannonbolt. So this is another big powerhouse. He rolls himself up into a ball, kind of like Sonic the Hedgehog, and then shoots off and smashes through stuff. Again, a more prominent character in the later series for Ben 10. Then we have Terraspin. So this is a turtle that can fly. Kind of reminds me a little bit of Gamera. If anybody is into that sort of kaiju films. Then we have Snarrow. So this is the like Ben Mummy, I think at one point it is called, but obviously this is kind of a mummy infused alien that Ben uses. It's more kind of the wrappings and stuff, I believe, as his weapons. Then we have Big Chill, who's kind of a bug alien, which is ice orientated. Obviously, big four wings like a butterfly, but obviously breathes ice and can obviously deals in cold temperatures. Then we have Swamp Fire, which is kind of a combination of several aliens. This is where they started to kind of mix stuff up, and when they get to Ultimate Alien, when they have ultimate forms. Then we have Wild Vine, so again in a kind of another viney, swampy type creature. Obviously the vines say he can stretch his arms, tentacles out and grab onto stuff and move around the swamp. Quite a fluidy character. Again, I say there's so much diversity within these figures, it's so great. And then you go from diverse to silly. So then we have this guy, Upchuck. So he basically is Kirby, if anybody knows that character. He will eat something and then basically throws it up as a projectile. So again, a later series figure, but quite a fun one. Then we have Echo. So this is a creature that can replicate itself and then has kind of sound projection. That's why you have the little kind of headphones connected and the mouth open where it sends kind of shock blasts. Quite a fun little alien. To have NRG. So this is, I think, kind of a nuclear reactor type hazmat suit alien. Quite a funky little robot. I mean, most of them have like good working arms and legs that can be moved, and there isn't much articulation outside of that, but still a fun little design. Then we have this guy who is called Brainstorm. So he is kind of, as you can see, a crab, but also has kind of electrical shock powers. And I will try not to get it, but as you can see, like some of them do have there, he can open up his shell and then shoot electrical blasts from his brain. Then finally on this we have a larger than life Azimuth. So Azimuth is the same creature as Grey Matter, the very tiny little figure that I showed earlier. This is just a bigger version of him. He created the Omnitrix and is featured in it, far bigger than what he is in scale comparison, but I still like to have some sort of representation of him. Then we move into the bad guys. So you have this kind of bounty hunter that is always after Ben. He is called 66. I have two different versions of him. Obviously this one where he has a big kind of cannon for his right arm. Always in the kind of dark purpley. And then we have this alternate version that should have ports on it for other weapons to be fitted on, but mine only came as it is. I think it only cost me £1, so that is why it is like that. Then we have a few bad guys that came into it. We have the hybrid alien, which features, I think, in near Omniverse. So Vilgax is the main guy. I unfortunately don't have one of Vilgax. He seems to be quite hard to come by. And the final one is what I can see is called DNA Alien. I can't really find a name for it, so do apologise if you do know the creature's name. Let me know in the comments down below. But yeah, this is a kind of little kind of minions of some alien race. They feature quite heavy again in the later series of them. And that is everything for my Ben 10 line. Do you like the Ben 10 toy line? Are you a fan of the TV series? Always interested to hear your thoughts and feelings. I've been Cypher Sigma Toys. This has been another collection video. Hope you all have a good week, and I'll see you in the next one.